Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Saint Nick.
Oh, yeah, Saint Nick.
And Spence is here.
Yes, I am.
And Mike is here.
Yes, I am.
And our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix software, Telestream Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Ho, 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 Nick.
All right, now, if you do too much hoeing, you know what that makes you.
Uh-oh. It will?
No,
That's a tough road to hoe.
I gotta go.
Yeah, before it gets ugly.
He's got to start early. You know, he's got to.
Yeah, I believe Australia is clicking over. I think the first they're clicking over here. I think 9 o'clock. They're in Christmas Day or something like that.
Oh.
It's 12 or 13 hours from the East Coast, so they're.
No, maybe not then.
Yeah, it'll be our noon or our 11 o'clock. They'll be turning over.
Well, I woke up and
Actually, in parts of South Australia, it is 12:39 a.m.
Oh, I forgot about the far. I'm thinking of the Sydney side. That's right.
Yeah, this is that doesn't say where. It is Christmas though.
Oceania is a big continent.
It is. Yeah, this is parts of southern Australia.
so if something happens during the show,
Where should we send your remains?
Yeah, what's going on?
I woke up this morning, I came in here, and it was on a sign-in screen. I said, oh, what happened? And I signed in. It says that Windows recovered from a hard error or whatever.
An unexpected shutdown.
So, yeah. So I restarted it and came right up. But as it was signing in, and for about a minute maybe, you could just hear da-dum, 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 da-dum. All the
How did it go?
USBs connecting and disconnecting, and I'm looking at the sound devices, and I don't see them flipping, and I don't know what was causing it, but some USB has been going off and on, connecting, disconnect, connecting, disconnect, connecting, disconnect.
Hopefully, they're doing a backup.
I do have a backup, yeah.
Well, then you're good to go.
So I booted in safe mode and let it come up, and then rebooted again normal, and it seems to be okay. But I don't know what, things.
You didn't hear the story? Microsoft is now throttling
Windows.
their older processors. They wanted to. They said Apple was doing such a good job with serving their customers by throttling their phones that Microsoft is now going to throttle older processors.
Can you imagine?
To prevent to prevent you from your phone dying from the battery, which is I think it's just a big replace your battery advertisement.
Yeah, Microsoft is throttling Windows 7 and 8.
I figured out a way to stop that from happening to my. Well, I'm up to date on my iPhone 7, and that just started to do it. But on my old iPhone 5S, I changed the profile to a developer's profile, so it doesn't accept updates anymore. So I'm okay there. Not that I use that phone that much. I use it for my virtual reality goggles. But yeah, it's a pretty amazing story. And Swarmy at least.
What's the story?
What's the story? Oh, well, Apple announced, or it didn't announce, it leaked out that Apple was actually throttling.
No, they confirmed after they were sued.
It leaked out through other sources, and people came to them and said, is this true? And they said, oh, yes, it's true. So they are throttling, meaning they are dropping the processor speed on now up to iPhone 7s, starting with, depending on what release you're on, I think it's 11.2. And doing that because they want to prevent your phone from dying because of low battery. Once you've had so many cycles on your lithium-ion battery, the charging is not as effective anymore, and your battery time drops. So they say that the complaint is that you could get to 40% on your battery and the phone will suddenly die. And that's a true thing. It does actually happen with older batteries. But to prevent you from having a bad experience and have your phone die unexpectedly, they are cutting the processor speed to make the phones last longer on the battery. But people say that's just a way to get people to have to buy a new phone.
Well, they're also doing, and of course they haven't announced this, but it's just anybody that's had an iPhone knows that this is true. As you do updates, your battery life gets worse and worse and worse. So I would assume part of this update is also the fact that they are permanently they're putting some type of governor on your battery, not letting it charge to full, because that's just what happens with iPhones.
I wouldn't be surprised.
They 100% do it. I mean, anybody that's used an iPhone for a significant amount of time, you do an update and you go, oh, now my battery life sucks. How is that possible? How did this update break my battery life?
And it does it every time.
Yeah.
Every major update, they have to have 4 or 5 so-called fixes that are supposed to help with battery life.
Yeah, wonder why.
So planned obsolescence. Alan said it cost him $30 to replace his iPhone 4 battery. I know that the number I heard from Apple was about $80 if you have them do it.
It's $100, yeah.
Yeah. I tried to replace the battery on my daughter's Moto X, and first time we took it apart, was the wrong battery. So she got the right battery, and then the second time we took it apart, I putting it all back together, wouldn't power up. So I'm looking, and the connector, the ribbon connector that comes off of the power button on the side of the bezel, was actually melted.
Ooh.
So I did the best I could. I hot glued it in place, and she said it actually is working sort of, but she bought a new phone. She got a new Moto. Not sure which one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I love how everybody's so surprised and shocked by this. Like the tech world is oh my God, can you believe Apple? Yeah, hello, I've had 4 iPhones. They've all done this. Like, what's the big breaking news here? Anybody that's used an iPhone has had this happen to them, and they can physically see it happening.
Yep.
So what's the big deal? This is what these tech companies do. Planned obsolescence. Been talking about it for years.
That's not planned obsolescence. That's forced obsolescence.
No, it is planned obsolescence. They are updating things to make your phone obsolete. Planned obsolescence.
No. If it's a small distinction, but if the phone were originally designed to become obsolete, that would be planned obsolescence. But whenever they interfere with the life cycle by rolling out slowdowns, that's different. That's an intentional obsolescence. That's forced on them. That's a forced obsolescence.
Yeah.
Look, if they were sincere and legitimate about this, they would have a switch in the settings that say, do you want to use the battery saver feature?
Yes, absolutely. I was thinking about that this morning, and it would be they would promote what. This is what's so amazing about these companies is that they don't realize how disingenuous they're actually coming off. They're in their marketing bubble, and then they're shocked when the people give them crap about it, and then they're forced to do something, and they could have done it in the first place and generated goodwill. So
they don't care. What's the negative effect? I mean, you're going to stop using an iPhone?
Oh well, no, they're saying now that the sales of iPhone X are not going as expected. They've already caught up as far as the demand goes, and they said that's a really bad sign.
Well, all I know is that we're at the end of our 3 years on our plan. So I was doing some investigation with Verizon over the last few days. And I will tell you that the Verizon stores, the Sam's Clubs, everyone is sold out of iPhones.
Well, this is specifically the X and the, this is numbers that I think it was like a week ago. I saw the numbers.
It's like the $1,200 one or something.
Yeah, it's $1,000 plus. Yeah. It's amazing new technology. There's a lot of things in it that are incredible. It isn't a game changer, but it's still the best. Apple's been making some, I won't call them blunders, but missteps.
They're calculated,
and a lot of it has to do with Cook and being in place. They brought back, I don't know that the guy left the company, but their chief designer either went off to do something else or left the company, but they brought him back because they're realizing that they're not, the innovation that they need to keep in people's minds is not there. The Google with their Pixel is actually doing quite well.
Well, they're opening themselves up for a cheap alternative.
Yep.
Well, the cheap alternative has been there for a couple of generations, but the cheap alternative has turned into an expensive alternative. I mean, you look at OnePlus, the phone that was originally designed to be the $160, $180 phone, has now turned into their new flagship models like $500, which at that point,
that company is highly flawed.
I understand that company's high flawed, but I'm saying they were the first real attempt at, we're going to be the iPhone killer. You don't need to spend $900 to get a nice smartphone. And it turns out the reality is you've got to spend at least $500 if you want the latest hardware. You're not going to get it for $150. Right. And that's the reality of it, which is fine. That's just the reality of having a good screen, a good front-facing camera, a good back-facing camera, good memory, decent screen. All that stuff comes with a price point. And I'm okay with that.
But there are a bunch of us old people who don't need all that crap.
Well, that's fine. But you can go and buy an older phone if that's the choice. But I'm saying for people that want.
What older phone are you going to go buy?
You can totally go buy an old Android phone off eBay.
Android.
Yeah.
Or iPhone.
Well, no, you don't want to buy an old iPhone. That's the
I'm just saying you can.
I mean, you can. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
if you would buy a used phone or an older phone, I would buy an Android before I'd buy an iPhone.
I agree.
The problem is the price doesn't go down in the iPhones. That's the other thing too. I mean,
I was telling Nick that we were over at Sam's Club as part of this effort to figure out what we are on our account. And while I was there, I started bad-mouthing Samsung, and it turns out the Samsung rep for the area was standing there, and he said, well, I'm interested in what you have to say. I thought he was going to get argumentative. He said, no. He said, you're not saying anything I haven't heard 1,000 times. I just am curious to investigate that with you. Just nice guy, great guy. And my wife uses an Android, Sam Note 4, older one. She actually likes it, except it does some really stupid stuff. So I said, well, I'll tell you what, I don't use it. I'm just repeating what I've heard my wife say. How about I go get her and let her talk to you about it? He said, please do. So she came over there and they spent about 30 minutes going through her phone. He started showing her things that it would do, downloaded a couple of utilities. One I think is called Samsung Plus. Another is called, I forget what it's called, but it's the one where you can log into your iThing account with Apple and download all your contacts and everything so long as you're backed up to the cloud on your iPhone. I mean, just seamless integration between iPhone and Android, which is the biggest problem she had. She has some quirks, things that pop up from time to time. So he went into the belly of the phone, looked at a bunch of settings, and found a couple of things. He said, yeah, you don't want this on global. You want it on local LTE or something like that. He said it gets confused from time to time. He said he made all those settings and said, look, if you ever have a problem, call me. He said, and I said to him, I said, I'm pretty impressed with what I've seen you do here right now. And I will just tell you that as a consumer, it seems to me that Samsung has done an absolutely lousy job of communicating the capabilities of these phones to the general public. And he said, you could not have hit the nail on the head any better. He said, when people see what they will do, they're impressed with them. But he said, we just cannot generate the buzz that Apple is able to do for iPhones. He said, they are just absolute masters at the art.
That's fact.
Well,
and I said, I understand.
Oh, Samsung had their own hill to climb with the battery issues.
Well, I asked him, I said, he said, the debacle. I said, oh, the one where you're setting airplanes on fire? He just kind of looked up. He said, yeah, that one.
well,
what was it? Note 7s were catching on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about, Spence, you mentioned the battery that warped the case.
Yes.
Well, here's something for everybody to, and you need to go look in your apps. Security researchers have discovered a new form of powerful malware that secretly mines cryptocurrency on a person's smartphone, which can physically damage the device if it is not detected. They are from Kaspersky, and they investigated the malware. It's dubbed Loapi, L-O-A-P-I, which they found hiding in applications in the Android mobile operating system. The malware works by hijacking a smartphone processor and using the computing power to mine cryptocurrency. The process of confirming cryptocurrency transaction by completing complex algorithm that generates new units in the currency. So Loapi physically broke a test phone used to study the malware after 2 days of the device being infected with it because of the constant load caused by the mining module and generated traffic. The battery bulged and deformed the phone cover. So if you see,
there's so much more. There's so much more to that story. Well, go ahead. I'm just
saying, if you pick up your phone and it's really hot, if you take it out of the case and it's hot, take a look, and it's an Android. I mean, they mention Android. I don't know about iPhones. Take a look and see if you have such an app among your apps. Loapi. Go ahead, Spence.
I was going to say that this story is not just about Android. This came out this past week about cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin. When you do mining, they call it, it's where you can get a reward for processing a transaction.
Right.
The way you get to process the transaction is that they put basically a math equation out there for everybody to try to solve. The first person that solves that equation wins the right to record a transaction. So in order it used to be you could do it on a single machine and it wasn't a big deal. Now it takes an enormous amount of power, both processor power and physical electrical power, to do this. So they're saying now that websites like download sites, free streaming sites, and that are looking for new ways to make money. So they're actually embedding this mining software. It's basically a big distributed computer model where they're using. Remember when you could volunteer for SETI, for the search for
you give your process. You give some processing
give
power.
Your machine to them off hours where they could use it for whatever they were doing to try to find alien life. Well, it's the same thing, but it's involuntary, and it is essentially a Trojan virus that gets on your machine and takes processor cycles and builds a big virtual processor out of it to mine cryptocurrency, and it's a big deal. And as I read this article, I was surprised to see that the whole blockchain technology that's behind recording a transaction, if you record one transaction for Bitcoin, it records it in now essentially millions of locations. So it isn't just saved on a mainframe somewhere and that's it. It takes an enormous amount of energy to record one transaction. How is that a good thing for the? Now, I personally don't care, because I don't think it's, people want to use energy to do that. That's up to them. But why aren't all the environmental folks screaming bloody murder about this technology that uses way too much power? So it's just, this is a big ugly thing that's going to eventually come to a head.
It uses a copious amount of power to mine a single Bitcoin.
Yes.
And that's why mining Bitcoin in the US is not worth it. You have to mine it in China, really, because the energy costs are so much lower there. It costs more to power the computers than the Bitcoin are even worth, at least in the US, because of the cost of electricity. So the big Bitcoin miners right now are mostly in Asia, because the power costs are just so much lower than the US.
I heard that one of the best ones, one of the most efficient ones, is I don't remember if it's a Scandinavian country where they have geothermal power.
Mm-hmm.
It's like super, maybe it's Iceland has one that's so super cheap. It's like a huge data center grew out in the middle of nowhere. But I'm gonna go search now and try to find out about the numbers, the power usage to record.
They're saying, articles are saying that to do it on your own computer is not going to work anymore. Because
it won't.
You have to buy a special, and what did they count it in ISOPs? Something like that. I can't remember. But it's like teraflops of processing power.
Yes.
The problem you have is, well, it's not a problem per se, but most computers have got a CPU or a decent CPU. But to mine Bitcoin, it's all about speed because you're solving equations. So GPUs are much better at solving equations because they're much faster processors than an actual processor. So essentially, you're essentially stacking GPUs inside of computers and mining Bitcoin that way. Processors are actually irrelevant.
Right. It's
literally runs the OS.
It's just computers that are built specifically for mining, and they have the necessary power to mine, but they are like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. And so the other side of it is, okay, so you bought one, and between spending that money on the computer and the power that it takes to run this, it's going to take a long time before it pays off. A long time.
Absolutely.
So I don't know.
Here are the numbers. This is absolutely staggering to think about it. There are about 300,000 Bitcoin transactions per day. Each transaction uses 215 kilowatt hours to record, to mine. Your average home uses about 901 kilowatt hours per month. So you're using about a week's worth of energy to record one transaction. They said with the popularity of Bitcoin going up over, I don't know, it dropped back down again. What was the high? I don't know. Anybody know what the high was?
It was almost 20.
Yes, insane. But it made it so popular that it said, on a larger scale, Bitcoin miners worldwide would be using enough electricity at any given time to power 2.6 million American homes.
So the power companies are making the money.
Well, that's debatable.
Yeah.
But this is one of those things they scream and yell about. Oh, you can't have this appliance in your house because it uses too much power. But this goes on, and nobody even blinks. So,
yeah, did Al Gore say anything?
Can you say hypocrisy?
919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. Call us. Let's discuss this. Yeah, Nick.
I've got something here.
Yes.
So, as you know, net neutrality, is destroying the internet. Sorry, I had a little net neutrality bump there.
It's already destroyed.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
you just all go home.
I don't even know how we're having a conversation this morning. All right, so so I was reading this article, of course, about mesh networks, which have been they've been popular for years, but in places like New York City and LA and San Francisco. So going through Reddit this morning, of course, the bastion of truth, of course, they're complaining about the neutralities they have done for the past 6 months. And the link to a New York City mesh network came up. So I decided to go through the installation information, and they talk about how this whole thing works. So I'm just going to read through this real quick here. So it says the equipment needed. This is the Light Beam AC, which is made by Ubiquity, and the mount, the mount to mount it on a rooftop. So that is $110 for that equipment, which isn't too bad. Then they charge you a $50 installation fee paid to an independent installer. $160 is due on the day of your installation, and they also have a $20 monthly subscription to help them maintain the network. How is this any different than the regular internet? It's the same damn thing.
It's always been the same thing. It's all about the availability to on the fly create new regulations and restrictions at their will. That's what I remember. I had a discussion with a young person recently about. I said, "Do you realize that net neutrality rules only went in place in 2015?" "Oh, I didn't know that." I said, "Yeah. So what happened before that? Did people not have access to all this stuff that they're claiming is going to go away? It was all there. And some of the really weird stuff that happened since then was all under these rules." So.
Yeah, I was dumbfounded by this post that literally is, I mean, it is saying the same. They're an ISP. They're no different than any other freaking ISP that is charging you a monthly. It charges you a setup fee and then charges you a monthly fee to use the service, and it's still controlled by one person, the super node, whoever you're connecting to. So if they want to make it $40, they make it $40. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I think that the way that all these mesh networks are going to work and be worth it for people to do is when it's done by private citizens. Like if you're in a homeowner association and you have 1,000 homes, and you can get the hardware to bring in, let's say, a Google Fiber feed, and you can allow so many people in the association to use yours. No, it's not managed by any central organizations. It's done on small case by case things. Okay, I want to let the 5 houses around me to use my internet. It's costing me $100 a month. Hey guys, everybody chip in $20 and we can do it. And it will grow and grow. Well, you know what happened with that? Which router was it? That
the Asus router.
They were saying that they have 2 networks on it that allows part of it to be public internet. They were actually creating some kind of what we're talking about, a mobile network, whether you like it or not. I don't remember that there was a company that was doing it, one of the ISPs. Something like this that's done voluntarily, knowing, okay, yes, I'm going to allow, there's going to be a password, I'm going to let those people join in, and it grows and grows and grows. It's not going to happen by any centrally managed system is bound to fail.
No, I get that. I just, the hypocrisy of these stupid people charging you an installation setup fee and then wanting $20 from you monthly.
Yeah.
It just completely defeats the point.
Right.
And the other part of
Right.
this issue is that it's not just about physical access; it's about content and the content war. The supposedly and the so-called fairness of content. And it's like, well, you know what? You can get broadcast channels, or you can get 1,000 channels, depending on how much you're willing to spend per month. And the idea, if net neutrality controlled that environment, then everybody would have the same 30 channels and it would cost $100 a month. Because
Yeah,
that's
it's
fair.
true.
That's fair.
I really don't get it.
It's never been about being fair.
No, but I mean, there you go. There's another example of one group, NYC Mesh.net. They're controlling the whole process, controlling the setup, and wanting money from you in monthly fees.
And to add insult to injury, if they got what they wanted, everybody would pay the fee whether they used it or not.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You pay the fee.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it really is unbelievable.
Well,
Oh well.
all right. Let's switch directions here. In an effort
Talk
to
about food.
push further into smart home and connected security products, Amazon has acquired Blink, a wireless security camera company that launched back in 2014, and then subsequently closed a $1 million Kickstarter campaign. So Amazon is now trying to get into the security camera field. I thought they were already into it with that key or whatever they call it when they
Yeah, I think that was not their product though. They were just using
Right.
somebody
Yeah.
else's.
So they're trying all kind of thing. I mean, they've got the money to do it with, right?
Oh God,
So
yes.
they can try all kind of things.
Did you hear the subtext to that story? The
No.
article I read that was commenting on that purchase, saying now the speculation is that Netgear is going to be purchased by another major company. Now I'm trying to think. The speculation was it would be the Apple or Google, because they want to get into not just the surveillance camera, their Arlo system, but wireless routers and other home networking equipment. So that was something that came up. I don't know if it was a Wall Street Journal. It was a technical business related story that I read. But they're saying that there were rumblings after that happened that Netgear would probably or could be purchased and absorbed by a giant. So very interesting.
Yeah. And another interesting story here is Mozilla had announced that its Firefox web browser is now available on all Fire TV devices. While navigating web browsers on television isn't the most user-friendly experience, it could be the only way users can access YouTube. Earlier this month, Google pulled YouTube off the Fire TV and Echo Show since Amazon stopped selling several Google products. So it's if you do want to watch YouTube on Fire TV, you could just use a browser. And I don't know why it has. I mean, can't you? And I'm not that much in. Can you not use Chrome on Fire TV? Don't you just download things and? Oh no, that's right. That's like Fire TV is like Chromecast. Yeah. So you can use Firefox to do it with. It's just like turning your TV into a smart TV by using a browser. You can watch Netflix, you can watch YouTube, you can watch anything. But it's interesting that they are still feuding. Them are feuding.
I need to get one of those Android TV set-top boxes. There's several of them available out there. There must be, on Amazon alone, there's probably 20 or more different versions of it. But this is the kind of the generic hardware, and you can get them for $25. But they're supposed to be, there's one brand or one name. I'm trying to think of what the name was. It's very popular. I'll find it in a second.
With what?
Android set-top box.
Oh.
Or streaming box. That's very popular. That's going to be, I helped a friend set up their home network for cord cutting, and he's very happy with what he's doing. He's got, I think I mentioned this last week, he's using YouTube TV and Sling TV, and he switched his Spectrum service to just internet and throttled it down to the cheapest one, which is now supposed to be 100 meg service. But it's still, I think it's like $69 a month, full price for that internet service, which makes it so that you're almost up there. If I'm paying $130 a month for what I have now with my cable service, once I add on a couple of subscription services, I'm getting close to that, what I was paying before. So,
hey, Nick.
Yes.
You want to talk about the Amazon Tube?
Yeah. Do you have an article that sets it up?
Yeah. All right.
I know all the details, but I'm curious.
So Amazon applied for an Amazon Tube trademark earlier this week. According to a filing found by TV Answerman, as the company's public feud with Google over accessing YouTube content on Amazon's devices continues to escalate. That's coming from The Verge. While there is not a lot of information about it, so Nick, you can I'll
take it from here. So there's been this ongoing feud between Google and Amazon for some weird reason. I don't see them. Obviously, they're competitors. They're both trying to be the service of choice. But when I think of YouTube competitors, I don't think of Amazon. I'm sad I don't think of anybody right now. There really is nobody competing exactly what YouTube does. There's sites like Daily Motion, but I mean they're all flops.
Right, but the difference is that Amazon is the only one with the sufficient resources to be able to compete with them because of their Amazon Web Services.
Exactly. So you would think that Google and Amazon would try to. I mean, I think their combination together they're good. Google, of course, makes the Google Home, but that is a direct ripoff of Amazon's Alexa, which was out first. All right. Google doesn't make. They used to make a Google TV, but that is extremely old. It was made by Logitech, and I don't believe since then they've made anything besides the Chromecast, which I wouldn't really classify as a Roku or smart TV device like an Amazon Fire. But this ongoing feud between these two, recently, a couple weeks ago, Google and YouTube announced that they were pulling the YouTube and Google Music app from the Amazon Fire TVs. They're pulling... I don't believe Google Play Music works on the Alexa anymore. They've essentially pulled YouTube, which is a big issue for the Fire products because a lot of people have those connected to TVs with the use of watching YouTube videos. I could tell you with the Fire TV I have, I used it to watch YouTube videos. And there's just this ongoing feud, and it appears now that Amazon is going to hopefully stick it to Google and YouTube and say, to hell with you, we're going to make our own service. And as Mike said, if there was any company that has the resources to to dethrone Google and YouTube, which I still don't think is possible, but if somebody wants to, it appears that Amazon, with all their mass computing power and acceptance into the marketplace, if Amazon today came out with a YouTube alternative, they push it to all their Fire TVs. They push it to all their tablets. They push it to the Echo Show. They've got a whole bunch of devices that will work with that service right off the bat. I mean, it's going to be a lot to pull people over, but if anybody can do it, I wouldn't be surprised if Bezos can. I don't want him to, but if anybody could, it would be him.
Does anybody know what Amazon's position on net neutrality was? Because right away it's like net neutrality.
I'm sure they were
on board for a while. Or
yeah, the verbiage is confusing here. They were for net neutrality, so they were for the regulations that were in place.
And then when they came out
with
this,
for the regulations.
When they came out with this offer, it would probably be, well, you know.
Well, don't get your hopes up because Amazon is no better than Google.
No, exactly. That's why I really don't think it matters, and I don't want to switch to a new service.
It's good for competition purposes,
it's very good for competition.
But what? No, well, wait, hang on, Amnon. I mean, that's what people would say: Verizon versus AT&T. That's what they'd say in Speculum versus AT&T. That the competition is good. Yeah, until they're in bed with each other.
Yeah.
Or you live in a town like I live in, where we can't get AT&T fiber or Google fiber to come into the town. AT&T is here but spotty, and Google just said not so much, so we're stuck with Spectrum.
Spence, where do you live? What side of Raleigh do you live on?
I live in Apex, which is the southwest.
So not far from Cary then.
But because we have a power cooperative, we buy our power wholesale from Duke Energy. And it's an Apex Community Power, which means that they don't want to deal with another right of way. They deal with Duke. They have everything that's under the Duke umbrella. They deal with Apex. It's a town of 50,000 people that they have a different set of rules, a different administrative entity they have to work with. So why bother? So that they actually tried twice. They wrote letters to Google Fiber, say, we want you to come. We'll give you incentives. And Google Fiber said, no.
Interesting. But I mean, overall, I don't understand the feud between these two. I mean, I see them mostly working together to provide. I think they both provide the best services that they provide. Amazon, I think, makes the best home assistant device. The Echo is far superior to anything Google attempts with their home. YouTube is far superior to any other video platform. Amazon Prime Video is far superior to YouTube Red. I mean, of course, Amazon with all their shipping and product stuff, which Google doesn't really compete with at all. I really don't understand the whole thing here. It's just, I guess, two large tech companies having essentially a pissing match about who's going to provide the best services. They're not really in most cases, besides the home assistant device, they really are not competing in the same markets with each other.
I actually went to the trouble of reading the emails that I get once in a while. I say, what's new with Alexa? And I was amazed. There's some really slick stuff you can do. I don't use it, but there's some really neat things you can do. And they're working with a lot of smaller vendors on products that you can introduce support for without having to have a home automation hub.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
I remember we were talking about this a couple months ago about making phone calls, and after it was one of the shows, Mike called me on the Alexa. And it spoofed his caller ID as his cell phone. I mean, the Alexa does some really, really cool stuff. But I really don't understand the whole feud here between these two companies. It seems like it would make sense for them to both kind of work together and try to provide the best service, but who knows? So overall, we may see Amazon coming out with some type of YouTube community upload service thing in the coming months or years.
Well, to the extent that someone uploads a video and deep links to it, it doesn't matter whether it's YouTube or Amazon. Facebook has already provided that alternative.
Well, there's a great thing, Mike. I didn't even think I wasn't. I want to ask everybody that is sitting on a computer right now to go to Facebook.com, log into your account, and scroll through your timeline. 70 or 80% of what you scroll through is video. Everything on YouTube is video, or excuse me, on Facebook is video. The first 3 posts that I just logged into, that's Fox News is live. Somebody I follow, another news post, somebody sharing something from Channel 4. And then a first picture. So 6 things in is the first thing that is not video content.
Mine's all
on my Facebook page. And everybody else's is, I would assume, mostly the same. If you're follow pages, if you're just friends with people, maybe not. But I follow a whole bunch of pages on Facebook. Your NORAD is live. They're tracking Santa. I mean, he's right here. I don't know what the big deal is.
Yeah.
But I mean, Facebook and Zuckerberg are absolutely controlling the video space right now because it's all in platform, and that's the problem that YouTube has. And they tried this with Google Plus, if everybody remembers back. They tried making essentially a Facebook-esque service and they pulled everything over from YouTube to try to combine everything together, and it didn't work. It was a flop. So YouTube again is back alone as its own standalone service, and looking at what Facebook is doing with Zuckerberg, they are they're doing their best to control the whole marketplace.
I see a post in the chat that nobody answered, and that's the first I hear of it. Charles is asking, anybody planning to get gigabit service from Speculum? I never heard that.
He just answered. He said, I think it's going to be $105. He's talking about 1 gigabit from Speculum.
I don't believe they're offering that.
I haven't heard.
He says it's going to be $105 and is rolling out. They rolled out upgrades this week. They increased me from 100 to about 240 as part of the.
I'll be damned. That's the only way that they're going to be able to compete.
Why would I pay them 105 when I'm getting it for 70 from AT&T?
I agree.
Well, so the only post I can find on this is that in Kansas City they're providing gigabit, but that's old news. They started providing that a while ago. Because
Charles is really up on this stuff.
Okay, well, I'd be curious on finding out what markets they're introducing that in. It appears that Kansas City and Cincinnati look like two cities that are doing. Yeah, Spectrum announced that they're offering 1 gigabit per second internet speeds, which in Cincinnati.
What kind of what modem? How many channels you need on your modem to support that speed? 16 down.
I'm not sure, but it's only $104 a month.
Only 104.
Yeah. $104.90.
I spent 70 now, and I get 110 by 20.
Which is fast enough. You don't need to go any faster than
No,
that.
I wouldn't get it. But so I guess Greater Cincinnati and Kansas City.
So it's 3.1. I guess what we're using now
That's
is
DOCSIS
3.1.
3.1.
DOCSIS 3.1. I think that's what we're using now. It may be 3.0.
No, we're using DOCSIS 3 right now.
Okay.
3.1 is so going on in this article, it says this is all part of their deployment of 3.1 to 7 cities, including Austin, Charlotte, Honolulu, makes no sense, Kansas City, New York, RDU, and San Antonio. So Raleigh-Durham is part of the DOCSIS 3.1 upgrade. Raleigh and Charlotte in North Carolina.
So there you go, Spence.
See if you have a 3.1 modem.
You don't need AT&T. Well, you can get one if not. I mean, they're not expensive.
It's just I don't want to spend that much. I don't need the speed.
No, but as Charles was saying, his 100 megabit per second internet is now 200 megabits.
Yeah. And the friend who I helped set up his house, he downgraded his service to the 100 meg service. And so now he's going to have, I got to tell him to refresh his modem because he's going to have.
Yeah, they have to have a minimum also, technically. And if it's at the 200, then hey, everybody wins here. Interesting.
Yeah. So those surfboards we buy are 3.1s.
Okay. Yeah, but you see, this is not really competition in our area, because very limited Google Fiber and very limited AT&T Gigapower. So it's not really competition. For competition, you have to have everybody can get any of these at the same speed and then the prices will start dropping because they're competing with each other. Oh, well, we want to get them, so we're going to lower $5, and that's why they can go with $105 now. It's probably those areas have other services that are in line with that. But Mike, your $70.
Mike isn't here.
Oh,
Stepped away.
I think the $70 a month is an introductory, and I think he was going to cancel it when they raised it, and they gave him another year, which shows that they're trying to retain customers. And
yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. I mean, honest to God, all of these ISPs and cell phone providers, they're in the retention game. They're not in
right.
They're not in signing new people up. It's, how can we keep these people signed up? I was at my mother's parents' house earlier this week visiting them, and their Time Warner bill came. They have the slowest tier internet, home phone, and basic cable with not a single cable box. Their bill's $114 a month. They're charging them $45 for home phone a month.
For home phone?
A month.
Jeez.
$45 is what they're charging them for home phone a month.
Did you try to talk them into maybe just refreshing their service? It'll bring it down.
No, they're not interested. So I mean, it's fine. Whatever.
Wow.
I couldn't believe 140. It's more expensive than my parents are paying for internet, and they've got 4 or 5 boxes and high speed internet, the highest tier internet you can get. I mean, it's crazy.
I went to AT&T just for fun now to search on what's available at my location.
Mm-hmm.
For internet only, the only thing that's available, this is hysterical, $40 a month for up to 25 meg, including 1 terabyte of data. And it actually has the brass to say, best for connecting up to 4 devices and streaming video. Download a 90-minute HD movie in under 22 minutes. It's pretty funny. And I guarantee that this would not be available at my house, because I know for a fact that the engineer checked out the twisted pair that's in the road out in front of my house, and my pairs are so bad that I could not even get internet service from them.
Well, I mean, that was the same situation when I got the Uverse here. First, they say it's going to be 6 megabits. And I said, there are people around here that have 45. And they said, oh, really? Well, not your location. I said, yeah, right across the street. And they sent somebody over, and they had to look in the cabinet and all this and that. And he said, I don't know why they told you it's not available. It is available. And it turned out it was like 2 different addresses for the same property. And one of them had it and one did not have it. He said, yeah, tell them here's the number and tell them to put that into the system. And sure enough, it worked. So in a lot of cases, when they tell you that it's not available, ask for somebody to come on. You need to ask your neighbors if they have it. And if they have it, chances are you can have it. Now, I'm not talking about a neighbor. Go ahead.
I actually had an employee of AT&T that lives in a neighborhood arrange to have an engineer come and look at my house. And the guy said, sorry.
And where is it? Okay, so where is it available?
2 doors away from me.
That's hard for me to believe.
It's the wires that run from the distribution box across the street from me to my house are not, and they're not going to bring in a machine to tunnel under the road to give me service. And even then, if I did get service, only thing that would be available would be this DSL service. That's it. I couldn't get full Uverse. I know I have neighbors that have it and tried it and dumped it because it was so bad.
Well, All right.
Amnon, I finally canceled my MindSpring email address.
Oh.
Isn't that something? And they begged me. The guy said, "Whoa, we'll be happy to give you 1 month free and you can reevaluate at the end of that month." And it's like, no, I'm canceling. "Oh, we'll be happy to give you 2 months free and you can reevaluate at the end of that month." It's like, no, I'm canceling. "Oh, but the free services, you may be disappointed." I said, "Look at how long I've been a customer." And he comes back, he goes, "Oh, 21 years. I said, "Yes." I said, "I was an Earthlink. You were my ISP through Time Warner for many years until you stopped offering. Time Warner just went way past you, cheaper, faster." I said, "But look at how long I've been a customer." I said, "I'm leaving because not only have I've gotten myself off of it. It took me a long time to finally clean it up and just move everything over. But I said, why am I going to pay $5 a month for an email, one email address? It's crazy." "Oh, I see your point." Yeah.
For $5 a month, you could go get a cheap VPS and a domain name.
Yes.
And you could just run your own mail server. You could have as many email addresses as you wanted.
And so that was victory number one. Now, victory. I wasted money for a year because I didn't cancel it, but it's going away on January, whatever it is, the day it expires. But I also, Amnon, I called XM.
Yeah.
And sure enough, as soon as I said I'm canceling because it's too expensive, "Oh, we can extend that offer to you for another year."
They are the worst. They are literally the worst company in the world, XM.
Oh,
they are the biggest
scumbags.
Go
from, it was a $99 offer per year that was going up to $214 automatically.
Who in the hell in the right mind? I mean, do they really think people are not going to notice that increase? I mean, you're literally talking like a 60-something% increase in price. I mean, it really is just astonishing. And they do it every single year. If they just kept the damn price at $99, people wouldn't be so tempted to call and cancel. And did you cancel anyway? Oh, you're muted.
I just had some audio. I don't know what screen I was on. I just started weird audio playing through my speakers. I had to mute. I did keep the service. I wanted to. This is my only car that has XM.
Oh, okay.
And we travel sometimes, and we want to be able to listen to XM in the car. So
now I'll tell you this, of course, as everybody already knows, XM is expensive. The mobile app for XM though is pretty cool. If you don't have a car that's connected, I use that all the time.
But you have to pay extra for the mobile app.
Yeah, well, the way that we did it. So what happened? My father had XM for years. My father got XM when Howard switched over. He's a big Stern fan. So when Howard moved to XM, and what was that, 2007, 2008, he jumped on the XM bandwagon and purchased a standalone radio and the whole thing. And he's had it ever since. So you're talking probably 8 or 9 years. Well, when my mother got her whatever car she has now, it had XM as well, but they couldn't combine the accounts. And then my father bought a used truck that did not have XM, so he canceled his subscription and just added streaming to my mother's subscription, and ended up saving him like $60 or $70 a year with only one subscription. So now he just streams it in his car. But it's if you have multiple cars and you only want one radio, because that's where they get you. They get you when you have multiple radios. It's a full like $99 or $150 per radio that you have. So if you have 3 cars with XM, you're talking $300 or $600 in XM fees. Where if you just have one car and then streaming, it's probably only $150 or so, or $200.
Well, I mean, like
so that,
Spencer's saying,
that works
214.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing, is nobody ever pays that. Every time your bill goes up to 214, you call them and say you're going to cancel. They give you the introductory $99 for a year every time, over and over again. But the whole point is, if they just charge $99 a year, people wouldn't call and ever threaten to cancel.
I'll bet you that there are millions of people that are paying the $200 and some dollars.
They actually grew their subscriber base,
which is crazy.
Yeah. But it mostly, it's funny because it's most cars now come with XM radios. and they were leveraging that. Was one of the reasons they were gaining market share, was because they would give people the whatever
6
it is,
months.
the 1 year. I got a 1 year free trial.
Wow. It's normally 3 or 6 months.
And then at the end of that is when I've renewed it now. I had the first year free, and this is the second time I've re-upped. The car is just 3 years old.
Oh.
That's crazy. Yeah, no, I guess that makes sense. I'm not surprised that they're gaining subscribers, because literally every new car has got an XM radio, and they give you 6 months for free. So I guess that's not really quite as shocking.
I tried to drop the Pandora name because I'm a Pandora One subscriber, and because the woman was familiar with it. She says, "Yeah, but we just bought an interest in Pandora. We don't actually control it or run it." I said, "So there's no discount for being a Pandora user?" She says, "No."
Nice try, though.
Yeah, nice try.
All right, so we were talking about YouTube and Amazon competing and all that, and listen to this. Amazon is planning to retire its music storage subscription service, the plan that enabled Amazon customers to upload their own music to the company's servers. Amazon Music storage subscription plans, which let users upload music from their Mac or PC and stream them alongside the in-app, on-demand, and radio options, will be accepted until January 15th. Then the service will run until January 2019, when it will be removed entirely. As of last Monday, free plans, which allowed for 250 songs to be stored in the cloud, are no longer able to upload new music to their MP3 locker. So apparently, I wasn't aware that they had that kind of service that allows you to store it there and then play it to your device, but they're stopping that. I wonder why.
Oh, I can tell you exactly why.
It's a subscription. People are paying money for it. So why do you think that is happening?
Because people are uploading illegal music to Amazon. They don't want that, and they don't want the liability.
Well, I mean, if it's illegal, then one wait until January 2019 to take it off. I mean, I would say, okay, that's it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's probably got something to do with. It's probably a combination of both.
Because that's really interesting when they're saying that it allowed customers to upload their own music. Their own music, right?
Yeah, I mean, Apple does this too with and I'm surprised they haven't stopped this service. Their iTunes or Apple Match, where you give them a song and they give you the Apple version of it, the highest quality version of it. And I mean, people just torrent music and then upload it to Apple, and then they get a legitimate copy. And that's what happens.
Well,
so there you go.
And this is an interesting fact. The use of wearable technology devices like watches, glasses, and fitness tracking bracelets will grow 11.9% next year, eMarketer predicts, with the growth rate continues to slow compared to previous years. Smartwatches will drive the bulk of wearable growth, but the number of people who use wearable technology in the States will still be less than 20% of the population. Experts suggest wearable adoption will slow due to the cost and unmet user expectations. Still, others, like analyst firm IDC, predicts that U.S. wearables use will continue to climb, doubling in size by devices shipped by 2021. It just a slower pace. I don't know anybody that uses anything other than a watch, and even then,
you don't know people that use the little Fitbits.
Well, Fitbit is. But what does that have to? It's not a connected device, is it?
It absolutely is. It connects to your phone. And tracks your steps and calorie count and all that stuff. Yeah. Those are considered smart devices.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I do know a few people.
There's a whole bunch of people that have those.
You use a watch, right?
I did. I don't anymore.
That's the thing. I think
Used it years ago.
a lot of people that are using watches are using it, and after a few weeks or months, the fad, it's like a fad, and they said, okay, you know, it just wears off, and they say, okay, you know, that's it, and it sits on a shelf somewhere, or it's being sold.
The problem you have with the watches that, besides the Apple Watch and the Samsung watches, they don't integrate well. They're gimmicky.
Well, that's the thing here that they say, because it's unmet user expectations. You get a watch and you figure, okay, I'm going to be connected, you know, just like I'm always are. No, it's not like you are sitting at your computer. It's a little bit different. It's a lot different, but you can do things. Just a few things that you can do on the computer. Don't expect it to be like your computer.
Well, yeah, but the Apple Watch actually is.
Well, it's not like you sitting at the computer. You have to do things. You have to do things differently. It's not as, I mean, it could be more convenient, actually, because you can be in the car and use it. But why did you stop using yours? Tell us.
Because it was a gimmick. I mean, the Pebble watch did not have a good integration with iOS and Android. It was just these stupid watch faces and a bunch of weird apps that were developed. The Apple Watch actually fully integrates with the operating system. You can almost anything that you can do on iOS works on the watch, and most of the decent app publishers make watch apps available for their regular applications. That's the difference. Same thing with the Samsung watch. If you use the S Watch, S Gear on Samsung, it integrates for the most part with the OS. It's the crossover ones like the Pebble that have a problem because they don't integrate with either of the systems very well. They have to use their own third-party app and their own third-party marketplace, and it just the experience isn't quite. I used it for years. It just got old and it sucked. That's the problem.
How long did you use your Pebble?
Oh God, probably 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
I got a lot of time out of it, but it eventually just wore off, and the battery life started not being as good, and I just said, screw it. I'm pretty sure I threw it away. I don't even think I have it anymore.
So Arnie is saying,
good morning, boys.
Oh, hello,
hey,
Andrew.
Andrew.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
How are you?
I'm Santa Claus.
I could see. You put on some weight too.
You know what? That was uncalled for. You know, Amnon, please kick him out of the show.
Got him.
He's hurt my feelings.
He's trying to get you.
What's going on,
let
Harry?
him. Don't let him.
Mike.
Resist.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Zarian.
How are you?
What's up, Andrew?
I'm sober. I've been drinking a good 8 hours.
Wow.
It's a good way to start the day.
2 weeks in a
Andrew.
2 weeks in a row. What's going on, Andrew?
I'm getting a divorce, apparently. That's how it happens.
Yeah, right. Go ahead,
I'm
Nick.
spending too much time here.
Andrew, what's you're the technology man with your good friend Paul Thurrott. What's hot for Christmas this year? Yeah, you're Andrew Zarian, the tech guy.
What's hot for Christmas this year? A lot of those stupid Amazon Echoes that I hate.
Why do you hate the Amazon Echo?
I don't like them listening to me. I think it's a spy. I think it's Obama, and I think it's his people that are listening to what I have to say.
That's
Let me go get my pistol. I have to shoot myself.
First they take our guns. Now they want to listen to us.
I just figured a way how to control that problem with the Echo listening to you. You get well, if the device is disconnected from electricity, it's not going to work, right?
Are you sure about that? I don't trust that.
So
okay,
you
yeah,
get
let's hypothetically say that's the case.
So you get one of them to,
Clapper.
and you plug the Echo into it, and when you want to use the Echo, you just go, "Hey Alexa,"
yeah, and then you wait 3 minutes for it to boot,
that's
and
true.
then ask you your question, and then turn it off.
No, I definitely think it's definitely going to be those Amazon boxes. The Xbox One X definitely is a big seller. 4K TVs. Surprisingly, I don't have iPads on my list for top sellers
Apple hater
this year.
Yeah, what's up with the iPads, man?
I don't Macs.
People aren't using the iPads quite like they used to. What's the deal with that? Because of bigger iPhones, you think?
Look at this.
That's the iPad Pro.
This is the iPad Pro, and I use it all the time. I actually like it. I use it at the bar generally.
For what, a serving tray?
No, you know what it is? My real job, my day job, is a very demanding job, and I always have to have some sort of computer by me. And I don't think that the new MacBook Pro, sturdy enough to take a beating every day. So I take it with me. I just take this iPad with me if I'm going out and I just need to be in contact with people.
No, I totally understand. That's why the bigger iPhone is a pro or plus for people that are always have to be connected. I mean, there's.
I'll tell you my pick for laptop. If you want a laptop pick, my pick this year, it's going to probably be the first one that I don't say it's a Mac in many years. It's the HP. It's the HP Spectre 13.
I've heard a lot of good stuff about that.
That is my top. That's the best laptop on the market. Spectre 13. It comes in like the ceramic white. It's a convertible. It's absolutely stunning.
Got good specs for $1,000.
Great. And by the way, it's a real quad core and a 13-inch.
Not a mobile chip.
Because the Intel 8 Gen laptop, not the right one here.
I'm sorry.
Let me just see here.
I'm looking at the X360 13. Maybe that's not the right one.
By the way, that's another great one. I have the X360. Actually, where is it? I don't know where it is.
Mine around LA makes a good one. What if you have a person in your house named Alexa?
You could change the name.
I would. Yeah.
Mine's called Computer.
Change
Okay. Well, I had one other thought too while you guys are looking for these computers. If you really want to fool the Alexa and trick up the Russians or the NSA or who's listening, then get a loop and play back Taylor Swift music into it. And I mean, that's cruel and unusual punishment for the listener.
I've got a great idea. I say you should learn to speak another language.
I speak another language.
Well, there you go. Just start speaking in Russian. It won't know what you're saying.
Alexa.
No, that's who's listening.
Привет.
Привет. Nastrovia. No, isn't that Polish? Nastrovia?
I don't know. I speak American.
I speak American. This is what happens. You move down to the South. Now you become a dingus.
Well,
you're doing conservative talk.
Is it going to be a white Christmas in New York City this year? It's going to be a white Christmas up here.
Is it? Is it? I don't know. People are saying it's going to snow. I hope not.
Getting 5 to 8 inches of snow tomorrow.
So Andrew, how do you like the new tax plan where your taxes are only deductible for the first 10,000?
I you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I followed his proposal. I haven't followed what passed.
Yeah, what passed is that you liberals are only going to be able to deduct the first $10,000 of your
property taxes.
For the property taxes.
Yep, we're going to stop supplementing you liberal bastions.
Yeah, but I only pay my property tax. Well, my property taxes a year are $7,800.
And you're good.
You're part of the privileged.
I'm part of the privileged. I don't know. Am I paying more taxes now, Mike?
Probably not.
I'm curious. The other thing is, I'm a little confused how he's doing the standard deduction. The standard deduction is now $24,000.
Yes.
I don't know, but it went up.
Yeah, it's 20.
Yeah, it went up
for a married couple, 16
for married
for single.
Yeah, but the standard deduction.
Something like 75% of the people out there are going to be getting a tax reduction. Anyway, let's don't get off on that because a lot of that's undecided yet. It's not undecided; it's unknown yet. I'm following a thread of a bunch of lawyers and accountants who are still digging through it, and as they find little nuggets, they're debating them. John, isn't it all local and state taxes? I don't know. It may be, but I know it was brilliant on Trump's part.
Mike, the time machine behind you is looking great.
Which one?
Mike's building a time machine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's frozen in time. I haven't touched it.
No, but Nick, I don't think we're going to see a lot of tablets. I think it's going to be all those Amazon Echoes. and a lot of 4K TVs because they are dirt cheap. I bought my father a 4K TV, and this was in August. I got him a TCL or TLC. I think I told you last week, and I paid like $300 for this thing, and it's not bad at all. I mean, it's not the best 4K TV you could get, but for $300, well, and it's a 50-inch TV.
Well, I was at Sam's Club yesterday trying to buy the iPhone, and
X?
yeah, no, the 8 Plus, and it was just a disaster. So I do need a new TV anyway. So I was looking at their TV selection. They had a 55-inch Smart Vizio 4K for like $398, $400.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And the Samsung one, which would obviously have it looked like it had a little bit better of a picture. It was like $470, $500, which is still a great deal for a 55-inch.
Nick, last week when I called in, did I talk about the Mint, the cell phone service, Mint Sim?
No, I don't believe so.
So, Mike, I actually wanted to get your opinion on this. As a service, and they're not an advertiser, mine, so this isn't a plug or anything. I always feel like I have to tell people.
Well, we can't plug any advertisers here. I mean, we have standards.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I always feel like I have to like explain myself because it looks like it would be an advertiser of mine. So, Paul told me about this company. It's called Mint Sim, and it's the cheapest phone plan I've ever seen. $15 for $20 a month. Actually, I'm sorry, $15 a month. Hold on, let me pull this up. So for $20 a month, you get 5 gigs of data, and they double your service. So you pay for 3 months, you get 6 months worth. So technically, you're paying $10 a month for 5 gigs.
What's the number?
Wait. Is that just the data, or is that with unlimited text,
unlimited talk, text,
and data?
And data? Yeah. Well, the data is 5 gigs. It's not unlimited data.
Well, it'll be unlimited 4G. It'll probably throttle you down to 3G or 2G.
When
you hit your limit.
No, well, the limit is 5. Yeah, it's 5 gigs, or you can get up to 10 gigs for $25 a month.
Who are they writing?
I have not seen a phone plan this cheap, and it runs on T-Mobile.
Oh,
well, there's a problem.
Yep.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting? Okay, so I have to tell you, I always wrapped on T-Mobile.
Andrew,
he's getting phenomenal service.
It's
Andrew,
great.
We're in the number one market in the United States. Everywhere
Thank
else has secondary service, except maybe
T-Mobile.
LA, Chicago.
T-Mobile in upstate New York is a train wreck. Literally nobody has it here because it is a freaking disaster.
Terrible.
Listen, here's the thing. Right? Obviously, a lot of people know that the coverage for T-Mobile is not as much as AT&T or Verizon. But if you're on a budget or you need a secondary plan for your girlfriend on the side,
or a
or as they
phone.
say in North Carolina, your gumar, right, Nick? Is that how they say it? Your gumad.
What?
This is not a bad option. I mean, $15 a month. I know a lot of people don't have the money, and a lot of people really don't care to have high-speed internet. For $15 a month, you could have phone, text, and data.
You know who this is a great plan for, Andrew? Like somebody like my grandparents that are on like track phone. This is much better than track phone.
Or someone like my brother that has no income.
I hate it when that happens.
I'm gonna send him that clip.
But you know what I mean? So I ordered one.
No, who it's perfect for is someone who lives under a T-Mobile tower and doesn't leave the house like you.
Yeah, apparently I do because the coverage is LTE, top speeds here for T-Mobile. I had no idea. Verizon LTE, I get about 85 megabits a second. 85 to like 60 I get now. But it's not bad. I mean, Nick, I ordered it and I'm waiting for it to come. So I was trying to find a phone that I had that's compatible that I could plug it into. But I'm going to do some reviews on this thing and I'm going to see how good it is because $15 a month, I've never seen a plan this cheap.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out who's backing these people.
And what do you do for a phone?
You got to bring your own.
Well, what was it, CDMA or
GSM?
GSM, yeah. And I don't think I have a GSM phone anywhere.
I can't figure out who owns this company, and that's a little concerning.
Post the name of the post the link in the chat, Nick.
Yeah, it's called mintsim.com.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, did they stop that promotion for the 3 months free?
No, it's still there.
Still there.
Well, what this tells you is the real cost of AT&T and Verizon providing this service.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but even T-Mobile's prices are not this cheap.
Well, they got to make a profit.
How are they able
I would
to
argue
take
that
T-Mobile's
these guys
service?
are probably not making a profit at these prices. They're trying to get their foot in the door, unless they've been doing it for years, and then I don't know what I'm talking about.
Before, I mean, I just heard of these guys. Well, T-Mobile does get 4 lines for $40 each.
Yeah, but that's a new service, and it goes up instantly. The thing's a ripoff.
Yeah, so T-Mobile, what is it? It's $70 for one plan, right?
I don't know how
And you
much
get unlimited everything.
I know Brian has been very happy with T-Mobile out in Idaho.
It depends on where the towers are.
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. I'm agreeing with you, but their prices are odd.
If you can see the tower, the service is going to be excellent. If the tower is not overloaded.
I think if you're in a somewhat major city in the United States that has a decent, I guarantee you T-Mobile works fine in most parts of Raleigh.
I don't know how true that is, because up until about 2 months ago, T-Mobile was garbage here, and I'm in New York.
Well, maybe that's still the case.
I know that whenever Johnny was driving back and forth from Wilmington to Raleigh, he would have 7 to 9 disconnects on T-Mobile.
Well, I get a couple on AT&T at I-40. There's definitely some dead spots on I-40.
Verizon has no dead spots.
Well, that's fine. But AT&T has dead spots, a couple on I-40 as well.
So, and speaking,
I do think it's interesting, and I know a lot of people. I don't know how good the service is. Again, I'm waiting for the SIM card to come. It should be here. I don't know, probably any day now. And then the other thing was, have you guys ever ordered anything from GDGT Deals?
No. Say it again.
I've heard of it, though. I've never used it.
GDGT Deals.
Yeah.
So it's it's GDGT, but they have like a deals site where they sell stuff. And they had a Black Friday thing. I bought this thing for Justice Camera, and I bought like 2 other things, and nothing arrived. And it was ordered on, I think it was ordered before Black Friday. It was like the 17th of November.
They're on the far part of China. Jeez.
What am I?
Never mind. So, Andrew, do you live near Rory Staunton Field Park on 79th Street?
No, I have no idea what that is.
Dead guy hanging.
What is it? Rory?
Dead guy hanging from a tree.
Where, by me?
At Rory Staunton Field Park on 79th Street.
I don't know what that is.
Oh.
Let's see. Is that Manhattan? 79th Street. Oh, that's uptown.
Okay.
Uptown Girl.
No, where is this? 79. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure that's in Manhattan, and that's normal. We see dead bodies all day long.
Did you know Son of Sam was a neighbor of yours?
Who?
Son of Sam?
Son of Sam was not a neighbor of mine, but he shot a girl by my house.
So she says this is in Queens.
It is. 79 is in Queens. It's right off of Queens Boulevard, isn't it?
It's Northern Boulevard. Northern
Rory,
Boulevard.
say that again. Rory what?
Yeah. Rory Staunton Field. It's 79th Street between Northern Boulevard and 34th Avenue, Queens.
I don't know where this is.
Apparently, Rory Staunton was a student at a school. Was killed in 2012.
Mm.
Oh, it's an older story.
Yeah, the school. I'm trying to see how he died. It doesn't say.
I don't know. So it's in Flushing, I guess. It happens. That's normal.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It happens. When I was a kid, there was a man, little Chinese man, set himself on fire in front of all of us in the park across the street from me, and he lit himself on. He poured gasoline, lit himself on fire, and rolled down the hill.
All right, let's see who called. Let's see who called in. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Gene. How you doing?
Hey, Gene.
Hey, Andrew was talking about deliveries being late. How about the Amazon deliveries this month? Have anybody had problem with them saying that they've arrived and they didn't arrive?
Yep.
And like 3, 4, 5 days?
Yep. I did.
Yeah.
No, I've been
Yeah.
lucky. I did place an order.
It happened to me about 3 times. And one time I called up and I told them, and Amazon is very good. I mean, they don't even ask questions. They just refund it for you. They don't really check on it or anything like that. But I had, as an example, one delivery that said they left it at my door on the 16th and the 21st. The other day I called them and they refunded me. And then lo and behold, yesterday, guess what? It shows up. And when it showed up, the interesting thing was it came with a U-Haul truck and a couple of people in the U-Haul truck. And so I asked them what's going on. And they said that not only the post office, but UPS is having such a problem with all these deliveries that people are buying online that they don't have enough people and enough vehicles. So they're renting U-Haul trucks and hiring temps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a issue happen where my daughter took my wife's phone and we have Amazon one-click checkout, and she ordered a couch and she ordered like a bunch of stuff randomly. And I called Amazon immediately when I saw it to cancel it, and they couldn't cancel because it was a third party. So I went back and forth, and they realized that the shipping for this thing is going to cost them too much, and they said just keep everything.
Yeah, well, they're very good that way. They issued me the refund. I called them back, of course, and told them that reverse the refund because I got it, and they were very, very happy that I was honest to do that. And that's when they told me that they've been having a lot of difficulties. But without question, if you say it didn't arrive, they'll give you your money back. What I asked them is, who's putting these updates on the website? Because I go to Amazon, I sign in, and I go to my orders, and I look for something that I thought was going to come and didn't come, and lo and behold, the status says, it was left by the door or put in your mailbox, and they give a date. And this one said left at your door December 16th. And it wasn't there. It never did to get there. And I'm not at a place where people can just walk off the street and pick stuff up my front door. I'm up a hill and way back. So that's not going to happen. I mean, people are just not walking up that hill to steal a package. They can't even see the package. So at any rate, I said, who's putting these updates in? Who's saying that they dropped this off on the 16th when it wasn't dropped off? Who the hell's updating the website?
UPS.
And they couldn't
the
answer
carrier
questions.
puts the updates on the website. The postal
It's a
service.
combination of the fulfillment center that scans it with the tracking ID, and then it's the UPS driver. So a lot of times, if it's a new driver and it's a holiday driver and they're not familiar with the area, they just leave it on other people's lawns.
Yep.
Other people's stoops.
Well, they didn't do that.
By the
on
way,
this
guys,
one.
I gotta
mean,
run.
They eventually delivered
All right,
it
Andrew.
for 6 days.
All right, I'll see you guys. Merry Christmas.
Take care.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Okay, I'm saying that didn't happen on this one. I mean, they didn't leave it at somebody else's door.
Gene, I
They
had a situation that it said that it was left in my mailbox, and I went and looked at the cameras, and I did not see any driver stopping by at that time period. And I called the post office and I asked them, and I sent an email. And the next day, I looked at it again, and I never paid attention to that. But it said, yeah, it arrived. But when I looked at the address, it was somewhere in New York. They sent it to the wrong place, and I never paid attention to it. I figured, yeah, that's coming to me. And the seller actually sent an email back and said, yes, we sent it to the wrong place. Sorry about it, and we'll send you another one.
Yeah.
So it's you also need to look at the address. I from then on I started looking at the actual address if I have a problem.
Yeah. Well, what do you think if they
receive-
sent this package that they say they dropped off on the 16th, and then finally they gave it to me on the 22nd? You think they just happened to find it, or you think it was sent back the wrong address?
I don't know, Mike. You were saying? Mike?
What I was saying is that I did receive some packages intended for someone else, and they were shipped out of Asia. So somebody didn't get their stuff they ordered.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, that was probably eBay. We're not sure yet, but I did get some packages, and I mean, I don't even know who to contact to tell them I got them. It's probably $10 worth of stuff, so I just threw it away.
I would guess that their success rate for shipping is not a factor. They can tolerate so many failed shipments, lost shipments, stolen shipments to the point of where it doesn't matter.
Gene, I don't think there's a way to figure out what happened. I mean, we're all assuming and guessing. Maybe if you call the transport company, being UPS or FedEx or the post office, and dig into it, which I don't think. I think it's a waste of time. As long as you got it, that's what's important.
I had a package. I ordered something on Amazon for next day delivery, and it said by the end of that day, left on porch, and it wasn't there. And I called. Oh no, it was delivered. I said no, it wasn't. And then 2 days later, it showed up. It was not a new order.
Mm-hmm.
It was the original date.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Spence. Who the heck is putting the updates on the website? That's wrong.
It's the vendor. Well, the vendor reports to this stuff gets subbed out. The holiday vendors are the ones that there was some really serious criticism of some of the temporaries that they're using. Somebody said that they're driven to the point where they're not allowed to take bio breaks. These people, that they're told they have to deliver so many packages within a specific period of time. And this is not by Amazon. This is by the vendor, the third party. And that one incident happened where they caught this person, the delivery person, relieving themselves in the street out in front of the person's house.
Well, anyway, what Amazon told me is they're having a very difficult time with the transport companies, with not only FedEx and UPS, but with the post office.
Yep.
So now, like I say, Amazon's quick to give you a refund. And I could have kept the stuff if I wanted, but I called them back. I'm not a dishonest person, and they were so happy to get the call back. They said, not often do people do that. They give out a lot of refunds, and they don't know whether the people are getting this stuff or not.
As long as you got it, that's all it is.
Yeah.
That's all it's
okay. All right. Well, everybody have a Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah, Abnon.
Thank you. A Merry Christmas to you, too.
Talk to you later.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 919-518-9773. Computers 2K voice on Skype. Yannick.
Unfortunately, on that note, I do have to leave.
Okay.
I've got some running around to do, and then I've got to record my show. So I will.
All right. Oh, that's right. You're doing a show tonight, right?
Yeah, it'll be pre-recorded. Oh, that's my plan. At least that may change, but who knows?
Yeah, I gotta go do some Christmas shopping. I gotta get started.
Okay, Nick.
All right, everybody. Well, Merry Christmas, and I don't believe I will be here next Sunday. I think I'll be driving back, so I will speak to everybody in 2018.
Take care. Brush your hair.
Hey, Nick, if you need to shop, just get the Amazon free helicopter service.
Oh, okay, excellent. I'll. Do you have a referral code I can use?
Today only.
Do you have like a special coupon or something that?
Yeah, just mention my name, no problem.
Just Spence's.
Yes, it was okay. Oh, yes, sir. Get Ranger service right to your house.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. All right, everybody. Merry Christmas. We'll see you next time.
Merry Christmas, Nick. Talk to you later. All right, and listen to this one. We're talking about shipping and all that. Have you noticed that your tiniest e-commerce items, which used to be shipped in a box, are now arriving in a padded envelope? Amazon is trying to ship each order in one correctly sized package instead of multiple boxes, responding to rising shipping costs and consumers' concerns about the environmental impact and general nuisance of all that cardboard. That means adding bubble envelopes, tweaking algorithms, and negotiating with manufacturers to make smaller packaging specifically for online sales, not store
So,
shelves.
how is bubble wrap more biodegradable and recyclable?
No,
than
it's smaller. I guess you
cardboard?
can. I mean, to take and this is the actual the subject of this thing is that they're sending stuff. Now they're talking about Amazon. I ordered transmission fluid from Walmart, and they had a case of 6 bottles. So I ordered 2 cases. That came in, each bottle in its own box. I mean, the UPS guy came with hands full, and I said, "What is this?" And I opened one, and I saw, oh, it's 1 bottle, and another one is another bottle. 1 button. Now that was a lot of cardboard. I see a lot more stuff coming from Amazon now in a padded envelope. Now, to take the cardboard, flatten it, put it in the recycle bin, it fills it up pretty quick. With the padded envelope, I mean, it makes sense for certain things because it seems like Amazon doesn't have any more of those small boxes. The smallest item, and it comes in a box that can fit 10 of them. The smallest box that they send out. So I guess it's okay for certain things to send in a padded envelope. But
You know, your issue with the first question is, how long does it take you to drink all that transmission fluid?
I use a lot of it, so I drink about once every 2 weeks.
But I think it might be a restriction, the packaging, because it's considered a hazardous material, that it may have to be packaged in individual boxes.
When I order oil from them in 5-quart jugs, and it came like 6 of them in a box, which made
maybe
sense.
they were out of those boxes.
You see, that's the thing. I don't understand it. When they said a case of 6, I usually think, okay, it's a case of 6, not individually.
They were out of they probably had at one point they had it shipped to them in cases of 6, but they didn't have those anymore, so they had to make it up to you in cardboard individual boxes.
And I don't believe that they have any really special rates on shipping. And when you take a big box of 6 and ship it, it must be a lot cheaper than individually wrapped and labeled boxes. So it's also a lot of waste on their side, which I don't understand. And it's not like it was a second day or, 2-day Prime, whatever. It took about a week and a half to get here. So it's not like, oh, well, we got to pack it fast. So Amazon is trying, and apparently they have algorithms that says, okay, this package can go in an envelope, and then apparently they look at customer feedback to see if anybody complained about something being broken or, oh, I don't like this or whatever, and they make a decision on that. Now, yesterday, I got a package from Amazon that had a CPU fan, laptop CPU fan for Lenovo. It's about that big altogether, the unit. It came in a really large size bubble wrap envelope. I mean, bigger than 8.5 by 11. I didn't measure it, but to me, that's kind of crazy to do for something like this, even though it was packed in a cardboard that kept it from bending. But something like this can bend, and if you're trying to do it with a bubble wrap, then why? I mean, you could have sent 4 of these if you cut that envelope in 4, you can use it 4 times for an item that size. And I don't know if the bubble wrap envelope are cheaper than those fillers, with the air bubbles, the big ones that they put in there, because you get a box and you say, "Wow, that's light," and you open it and there's a little bitty thing in there and a bunch of that plastic that you have to puncture if you want to save space in your
they make those on the fly.
Well,
that air stuff is made. They have a machine, that's just got the raw plastic, and it fills them, and they can make them of different sizes, and it just pumps them out when they need
which
them,
is fine. But I can't believe that it's less expensive to do that with a bigger cardboard box.
I was thinking that the bubble wrap, if it's a small item that would normally go in whatever their smallest cardboard box is, the bubble wrap, they can put that in your mailbox, so they can have the postal service deliver it instead of delivering it by another carrier. And it prevents, if the box doesn't fit in your mailbox, it stops the postman from having to carry it up to your porch, because you can get the bubble wrap into your mailbox. At least we have semi-rural delivery here, where we have mailboxes on the street. Mm-hmm. It's not door-to-door service, so it's a little bit different than some areas where it's either where the postman is walking and delivers to your mailbox on your house.
I
wonder what they do if you live in a new community where they have centralized mailboxes.
I have no idea.
If you've got a package that comes via post office to your location, and you've got just one of those little metal boxes that doesn't fit in there, they have to bring it to your door, and that's not part of their usual plan for those communities. So I wonder how that works.
If you follow the tracking after it's delivered, it doesn't say just that it was put in your mailbox. It says left at or in.
Oh no, I realize.
And
what I'm saying is, if
I had one of them,
maybe they use it.
Go ahead.
I was going to say maybe they use a different vendor. If you live in a community where they have centralized, it could be new houses too, where they don't get individual home postal service anymore.
The thing is that didn't make sense also is to get a package and see it right at the bottom of the mailbox on the street. And it's not like it wouldn't fit in the mailbox.
Right.
We have I put an oversized mailbox because of the business, and we get big. Last week, I ordered 8 12-volt batteries, the SLA batteries.
Yeah.
I saw that the mail truck was out there for a few minutes. I said, must have got a bunch of stuff. Went in there. There was one box in there with 8 batteries. You know how heavy that is.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't imagine that mailman, instead of just pulling in reverse, coming into the driveway and dropping it at the door, which would have taken her, it was a lot less time than to struggle with that. Not only that, that was the only thing in there. And I said, wow, no mail. Oh, yeah, there was mail. She came about 2 hours later. Turn around. I saw her making a U-turn and put the rest of the mail in the box. Now, tell me that that's productive.
No, it's not efficient, but who knows? We've had mail delivered we've had mail that never came one day, and they brought it at 7:00 the next morning.
Now, I must say that
I asked the guy, because
they're getting
not
good.
My regular carrier. I saw him out there, and he said, "Oh, we're just way behind."
Yeah, the post office in the last 2-3 weeks, I've seen them coming and delivering packages, like about 7:15, 7:00. Because I would go out there and I'll see that there is a package, and I said, "Oh shoot, I forgot to pick it up yesterday." No, I did check the mail yesterday, so I'll go to the cameras and check. And they arrive in the morning, and only for packages. So it works. All right. Talking about internet, Mike, we were talking about it earlier. British homes and businesses will have a legal right to high-speed broadband by 2020. The government said Wednesday, dismissing calls from network providers British Telecom that it should be a voluntary rather than legal obligation for providers. I mean, a legal thing.
It's their country. They can do whatever they want to do.
Well, I know, but I mean, to give this is a right. It's very interesting.
It's only a right because the government says it's a right.
Yeah, that's true.
They're free to do it either way they want. If the people don't like the way it works, they vote them out.
And talking about Amazon storage, it happens again and again. An Amazon Web Services S3 cloud storage bucket containing information from data analytics firm Alteryx has been found publicly exposed, comprising the personal information of 123 million U.S. households. I mean, you can't really blame it on Amazon here. It's the people that are using it, the companies that are subscribing to those services, and they don't know how to store that stuff. The S3 bucket, located at the subdomain Alteryx download, was found by California cybersecurity firm UpGuard with its cyber risk team discovering the leak on October 6th. And it says that the 36 gigabyte data file titled Consumer View 10-2013 contained over 123 million rows, each one signifying a different American household. So there was information, what ethnicity, what income, a bunch of that information in there, about 123 million households. I don't know what we can do about it. Here, now you hear about Alteryx. This is an analytical firm. We cannot take steps to say, okay, you know what, don't use them, because we don't use them. Companies are using them. And go figure out which company is using them, or which. It's like it's out of your hand. It's like somebody has your data and they are abusing it, and you have no recourse because you don't know who gave it to them. It's frustrating. If Apple does something or if Amazon does something, okay, I'm not going to use it anymore. But this is something completely different. Addresses, contact information, mortgage status, financial histories, and very specific analysis of purchasing behavior such as domestic travel habits, if they are a cat enthusiast, their sporting interest. All that stuff was up there for grabbing because it was not under any type of a password. Anybody can download. Now, of course, you have to know to go there and get it, but this security firm did. Bad stuff. Bad stuff. Mike, anything you want to talk about?
I did have an interesting sort of experience. I've been fighting a computer that had gotten ransomware on it.
Right.
I was able to completely restore the computer, clean it out, did all sorts of every sort of safety scan I could do on it. Cannot find any remaining resemblance of the ransomware on the computer. However, I'm still not trustworthy, it's not trustworthy because I don't know whether this thing can bury itself into the fat table or in the hard drive or whatever. So I went and got yet another hard drive and installed it in the computer. And I said, whoops, wait a minute. There's a problem here.
Yeah.
This computer originally was Windows 7, but it had a free Windows 10 upgrade from the day it was purchased. So when the computers were purchased and booted up, not only did they install it Windows 7, but they went all the way into Windows 10. It was automatic. And I said, well, okay. The way you can tell is it still has a Windows 7 subdirectory on the hard drive somewhere. And so, well, that's a problem because this computer did not have a product key, a Windows product key on a label on the side. And I said, now what am I supposed to do? Because I want to do, I want to reinstall from the ground up and not take a chance on that ransomware being there, even though I think it's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Then I actually went through and did Windows 7 installation, and it went installed fine. And I said, well, wait a minute. And I did some research and found out that you can actually start from scratch and do a Windows 10 upgrade, a fresh install. So what I did was I made an image of that Windows 7 drive, which is a number of hours to get to that point. I did an image of it. Then I wiped the drive clean and did a Windows 10 fresh install. And every time I got to the part that said enter your product key, I just said skip or ignore. And about 6-8 hours later, after all the updates and the reboots and everything, I checked it and Windows 10 was activated.
It's got a digital, it's digitally registered with Microsoft, so you don't actually need the key.
Right, but it's based on a collection of hardware things.
Yes.
Maybe there's certain codes that it can read out of the hardware that maybe it allows you to change 1 of 3 or 2 of 5 or something like that. So anyway, it did register it. And so now it's brand new computer ground up in terms of the operating system.
You get 3 days, I think, that you can do a keyless install Windows 10. If you want to just evaluate or try it or play around with it, you can always install it without a key.
But it actually tells you that it's been activated, right?
Right. And my question was, once it says activated, that's the end of the game, right?
Yep.
That's it. Yeah.
It says activated, and and it's a legitimate copy. I mean, it should be, but the fact is that it makes me want to go back in to even rebuild the other 3 from the ground up.
Well,
as long as there hasn't been a significant hardware change, you should be fine.
On those, there's no hardware change. This one, the only hardware change was the hard drive.
Yep.
Gary's asking, what are the best solid state drives? I've had real good luck with Samsungs. In fact, I've had, knock on wood, good luck with all of them. But I've sort of standardized on the Samsung drives and been very pleased with them. And the price, I mean, they're cheap now. Well, the smaller ones are cheap. The 500s and up are still very expensive.
Well, Sean sent me a link. Best Buy has them this weekend, and I don't know for how long, for $129 for 500. And he said that people were commenting that when they went to the store and actually rang it, it rang 109.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cheap for an SSD 500.
Well, I'll tell you what I did, though. I probably said it here 2 or 3 years ago. I am no longer buying any hard drive because it's on sale. Because the fact is that there's a really good chance that's the new price. So if you need the hard drive, buy it. If you don't need it, don't buy it because it's on sale.
Yeah, because maybe a few weeks later it'll be, or a few months, that will be. And
if you miss it, the price is still going to be coming down. There are things to buy when they're on sale at half price and all that, and that's fine. The first SSDs I bought were 128 gigs. I paid $60 a piece for them, but they've worked flawlessly. Knock on wood.
Yeah, I've got them in 2 laptops, 3 laptops, and this desktop has a 256. I think it's a SanDisk.
I don't have any SSD in any computer that I know of. And
wow,
while I was talking with Sean, I remember that Sergey asked the question. He said, "Okay, so how do you move the swap file, the Windows swap file, from the C drive to another drive if you want to, if you have 2 drives?"
You don't.
Well,
to another drive. I don't know if you can do that.
Sean says that Windows now, Windows 10 especially, has an automatic thing that it senses that you have an SSD, so it puts it on another drive if available. But as far as I know, also the read writes that we were worried about years ago are no longer a problem because it will outlive you can't read and write to it enough times to damage the drive.
Well, they've come up with some algorithms and distribution schemes that work really well to round robin write, and also to test sectors when they're not in use. It's just the intelligence that's on a solid state drive now is incredible.
Well, what I've done, because I did adopt them early. By the way, you're saying, Amnon, you have no solid state drive in any of your systems?
Not that I know of. No, I know I bought 120.
So much to look forward to. I mean, really, it is the single biggest improvement you can possibly make to a computer.
But the migration to it from an existing system, if you're trying to preserve it, can be daunting. A clean install is almost always very easy, but
it depends on whether you're going bigger to larger.
Yeah. So it can be if you look at forums, that is one of the biggest questions. Is I have a 1 terabyte drive and I want to I only use 100 gig, and I want to move it over to a solid state drive that's 256, and it depends on what software you use, and then it can be. The good news is the manufacturers of the solid state drives usually provide a limited edition version of cloning software just so you can do it, and advice on how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll run into issues with the master boot record and things like that, sometimes not moving over.
I don't know. I never thought about. I mean, I'm fine with the speed my computers are running, so I guess that's why I'm never looked into it.
Well, they are faster than you are.
Yeah.
All right.
It's time.
It's that time.
I've got to go do some Christmas shopping.
For next year, Mike?
No, I'm joking. For once, I'm done.
I'm actually going over to Lowe's to buy a wall rack for storing lumber.
I just bought some off the internet.
Yeah. Lumber or a wall rack?
Wall rack.
This is they normally sold this for $60. It's now the new price is $30. It's either six. I think it's 6 bars, two bars with six shelves or 8 shelves per.
Yep, I think it sounds like what I bought. I got 3 of them.
Yeah, they're I'm gonna get more than one because I having a single span doesn't let me put my small pieces up there on the wall without putting actual shelves on top of the brackets. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't make any sense. So I'm just
it does make sense for the smallest pieces.
Yeah, so I'm going to have the ends, or one end I'll have several that are just 2 feet apart, or 16 inches apart, and then I'll have a long gap on the other side.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you what happened in my garage. One of my wall cabinets fell. After 26 years of being on the wall, it just said I had enough, and it just literally, it didn't break, it just fell apart.
Well, part of it stayed on the wall and the cabinet fell apart.
The backing stayed on the wall and the rest of it just fell to the floor. And I had put some more weight up there recently, but not a lot.
Yeah.
And it was just a disaster. I had light bulbs stored up there and just.
Guys, let's finish the show and then we can talk about these things.
No, I need to go anyway. Yeah, but
So
hang around, Spence. I want to tell you something.
Merry Christmas to everybody. Anything you guys want to say as closing?
Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
Merry Christmas. Everybody be safe. Everybody drink responsibly. Don't drive with the Santa Claus hat over your eyes.
All right. And so again, Merry Christmas, everybody. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed your time together and maybe learned something. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channels. Listen tonight at 7 o'clock, before all the family comes in, to Nick Craig as he hosts Against the Norm on Wilmington Big Talker 106.7. And you can listen to it on TuneIn. Bye-bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.